Theory 1. Backroom. That's fitting. Maybe too accurate. I call it the real state. There's a lot for me to explain on the subject, as I was for many years trying to figure out its mystery. First of all, real state is what it points to be representing, but cannot be truly made clear to anyone unless you have actually been in it. Secondly, no matter how hard you try to reach it, you will never find a way to do it. It's spontaneous, can happen to anyone, but generally speaking, if you've been in once, you will end up going back eventually. There are also a set of rules. These are not written, nor do I claim them to be a factual representation of real state's true reality. But what during the years I've managed to see as axioms may hold some answers to how real state works that I can point and explain bit by bit. Number 1, never try to escape. Number 2, be always calm. Don't show any signs of anxiety. Number 3, do not search for others. Do not ask for anyone. Number 4, stay as close to your entrance as possible. Number 5, never directly stare at any source of light. Number 6, should you lose your senses, do anything to regain them, even if it means cutting off a part of your body. Number 7, always check if the time is what you remember it to be. Number 8, do not touch a wall that seems darker than the one next to it. Number 9, should you come across another human being, do not make eye contact and move away from each other as fast as possible. Number 10, count seconds, and after every 500, remember who you are and where you came from. Number 11 is the most important. Sit down and do not look at the sounds when you hear them. I'm going to explain these one by one. Number 1, never try to escape. This is crucial to understand, that thinking about how to escape makes your mind go haywire, panic, and eventually, you lose yourself in it, running around and away from your entry point. Losing your senses will eventually extend onto your track and perception of time itself, which is why you should always check on it. Count seconds, and always try to remember who you are. If everything fails, go to extremes. You don't need a knife to hurt yourself. Bash headfirst into a wall if you must, and you must regain your senses. I learned this the hard way, but getting yourself calm, point 2, is important to thinking straight and crucial to really getting out. You are not going to run out of this. How many kilometers you would run, you'll never escape it this way. It's your emotions keeping the rooms extending. At least that's one of my assumptions. Another one has to do with point 3 and 9. Do not search for others. Do not interact with them should you bump into anyone. You do not know who they are, how they react, and how long they've been there. This is why you count seconds. If you lose track of time, you lose track of reality, and then your emotions, which is what can get you into a nasty situation, and can even mean your death. Most of the times, others don't know it, wandering aimlessly further and further away from their entry point. They are quote-unquote lost to time, because time in real state doesn't follow our space-time continuum rules. It relies on you to keep it meaningful. Think of it as if the time had no concept in real state, and only the beings that perceive it can understand and think it. But other than you thinking seconds, it is closely to non-existent there. I say closely because there are multitude beings whom still perceive it in their minds. Coming across one another shows signs that time only means a variable in a form of a living being. And these living beings can be anything. I call it real state because it strips down the reality of its dimensions that we humans coherently understand to be a physical world. There is no real space that you can measure there. Sure, you could measure the rooms, calculate its density, but then, if you check the atmosphere, there wouldn't be any oxygen or any other particle in it. Breathe in consciously and try to comprehend what had just happened. And then, remember, be calm. There's only the timeless perception stretching endlessly before you. That extends onto any other being that happens to be within. Any, meaning not only human. I call them plainly, others. If you're not careful, and you no-clip out of reality in the wrong areas, you'll end up in the backrooms, where it's nothing but the stink of old moist carpet, the madness of mono yellow, the endless background noise of fluorescent lights at maximum hum buzz, and approximately 600 million square miles, and approximately 600 million square miles of randomly segmented empty rooms to be trapped in. God save you if you hear something wandering around nearby, because it sure as hell has heard you. The first time I saw one was also the first time I was in real estate. I was already panicking, already wandered too far, and lost track of time. I lost my senses seeing otherworldly creatures that I can only describe as a crystalline form of ants the size of a giraffe. I turned around and ran, screaming. I didn't think about escaping from there and then, just from the creature, which is why I think I ended up being let go from the real estate. This had led me to one conclusion that much later came as this. Sit down. Do not look at whatever came in. As far as you are concerned, there are only intelligent beings in there. Seeing how I haven't come across any insect or large animal, which, as you'd think, would greatly outnumber the total amount of humans, right? The other beings, whatever they might be, are of no concern to us. We cannot converse, we cannot understand each other, or help one another. There's no point in agitating ourselves further in that situation. Points 5 and 8 might come as weird after coming to understand the real estate as an unchangeable constant, but it is also precisely why these points come out as somewhat exotic but logic phenomena. First of, the light source. Real estate has no real source of light. I presume the light is there because your perception demands it. Perhaps if you're blind, your mind would create a more fitting environment. But for me, it seems to be an unchanging bright orange light. Not like the first picture, but again, different perceptions. So, if the light is always the same, whenever you go, what about pulsating light that seems to suddenly appear behind you, or show up in another room? I like to call these white holes, as in the proposed reversals of black holes. One of my assumptions to the reality behind the backroom is that it's a tunnel that we somehow end up in, coherent enough to observe and touch, but not act upon. Perhaps the other beings use it consciously, which is why they never seem to be interested in us. I was, after all, never harmed by them. But here comes the dark wall. It completely obliterates the previous concept, because dark walls are the actual exit/entrance points, and not the white hole that it would suggest to be. Why then stay away from them if those are entries/exits? For the same reason, you should stick close to your own entry point. Imagine a space not distorted by time, a seemingly unending one with your own private entrance. How many more like these are there, and each leading to other points in space and time, or something completely by us not understood? This is also why I wrote that the back room is a fitting name. Perhaps it's the back of our consciousness. Point is clear here, however. Stay clear of the dark walls, but your own entry point. There's also a discrepancy here as to the entry point. Sometimes, you can get ejected from the room completely randomly. It can happen right away, or a month, or a year in. I got myself ejected while running away from the other being, but I also got myself ejected while being completely calm. This would conclude my observations on what the real state/backroom is, but I still wait till the day I again enter it. Each time I come more prepared than last, and each time I understand more and more. Theory 2. The backrooms are a maze-like labyrinth of prefabricated rooms used to load reality. Those that are quite psychotic or on the verge of seeing through reality often end up clipping out of the Matrix and can end up in the back rooms. Individuals often find the rooms have a feel like that of rooms in the late 60s and 70s. Though the lights are on, there are no switches. Many people simply starve to death trying to find an escape, resorting to trying to eat the dryboard or carpet of the structures. Individuals attempt to find moisture in the walls and build a dwelling within the old 70s empty rooms, building carpet beds and trying to find respite from the ever-bright green lights in order to sleep. In order to escape the back rooms, you must become fully convinced that this is where you're meant to be and feel as if you're moving through your own house or workspace. Only then will your home or old dwelling materialize around you, and you will be out of the backroom matrix. Individuals who have escaped the backrooms often feel like they are still in it, and are permanently psychologically damaged from the understanding that their real life is inherently false. Many individuals often end up killing themselves.